SABC News. Another blow for the facility and management company BOSASA at the Zondo Commission into state capture today. That's as News 24's editor-in-chief, Adriaan Basson, detailed to the Commission how he was threatened by the company for investigating it. He revealed BOSASA used its employees to intimidate him. He gave testimony at the Commission that's underway in Parktown, Johannesburg. Let's look at some of what was said today.
I was perturbed by the call, the fact that someone knew all this personal information about me, knew about my family members, where I stayed, where they stayed, what I studied, where I was born, what my ID number was. I then, on advice of my clever wife, went home and put in the cell phone number from which she called just into a Google search. So I just literally went onto Google and typed in the number.
Before you go there, just two brief questions, if I may. You know best of the context of the call, its content. What did you conclude about the purpose of the call?
Chair, my conclusion was that this was a BOSASA operation to intimidate and scare me.
And were you warned not to speak to anybody about the conversation?
Indeed, Chair. She warned me with words like, "I will kill you if you tell anyone about our conversation."
Adriaan Basson, the editor of News 24, testifying today at the Zondo Commission. Well, Griselda Lewis, of course, our reporter who's been in the Commission throughout today. Griselda, good evening. All right, explain this to me. There's been testimony by Angelo Agrizi. I don't think anyone will forget some of what he said about money being moved around. Yes. He was the former chief operating officer at BOSASA. At one point, he explained how Dudu Myeni, the former chair of SAA, had NPA documents. And this is all now corroborated by a carpet pattern. How did this evidence come through today?
Well, Stephen, we were all startled, of course, by that testimony by Angelo Agrizi. So today, you had one of the Commission investigators who we knew yesterday would testify in this particular matter. Basically, he had interviewed Angelo Agrizi way before he had testified in this matter, and he was handed documentation. Now, remember, at the centre of that testimony by Angelo Agrizi, he indicated that Dudu Myeni was in possession of confidential documents from the South African Police Service of an update of the investigation into BOSASA. So I remember at the time when I spoke to Dudu Myeni, she basically had rubbished him off as someone who was angry. She described him as an angry man. And today, this investigator is saying he managed to corroborate basically the picture. One of the pictures shows a carpet. He went to the hotel, this investigator went to the hotel and tried to match the pattern of the carpet and found that indeed the picture was taken there. And the hotel management also confirmed that Dudu Myeni had been a guest at this particular hotel. So now the question that everyone is asking is, how did Dudu Myeni come into possession of confidential information relating to an investigation that was underway into BOSASA? So now all of this basically corroborates what Angelo Agrizi had said in his previous statement about Dudu Myeni and the meeting that took place at this hotel in Pretoria.
So in another way of putting it, what the Commission is hoping is that it strengthens the case that she now has to answer?
100%. It does strengthen the case in terms of what Dudu Myeni has to answer now, because she did say at the time when Angelo Agrizi had testified that she would answer via her lawyers. That has not yet happened. So this afternoon I also tried to reach out to her as well. She indicated she was in a meeting, but I think she would need to answer much more now on exactly how, or even the denials of not ever having met Mr. Angelo Agrizi. This investigator now, the Commission investigator, basically puts a stamp of approval somewhat, to a certain degree, of corroborating what Angelo Agrizi had testified.
So there's a little bit of a parade of witnesses today, quite a few coming through. It's a sort of one of those days in the Commission when details are sort of put together. Gregory Lawrence was one person who testified. He was testifying about money and how cash was being moved. Let's have a look at some of what he said today.
I would notify them that I have the cash available, and I would make arrangements for what time and where I would meet him. Sometimes it would be at BOSASA. On a few occasions it was outside BOSASA because it was over a weekend or something like that, and I'd make the arrangements, and I would the way I would receive the money from my clients would be the way that I would deliver the money to the person that I was dealing with at BOSASA, and every time I had enough money, I would make contact.
What amounts are we talking about, more or less?
Like I said earlier, is that it would vary, and it's such a long time ago. I can't exactly remember how much, but for me, I didn't really want to sit with a lot of money in cash with myself. So as soon as I pretty much got to a figure of anywhere, I would say maybe 500,000 rand, I would contact him.
That was a witness at the Zondo Commission, Gregory Lawrence, testifying. So, Griselda, in other words, what we're getting to is how the money was actually moved around. We'd heard all about the liquor store and all of that. He's actually one of the people who had to carry money around.
Some are actually saying this is beginning to connect the dots, if I may, because when Angelo Agreezy had basically testified about monies in the vaults of Gavin Watson's office, it all begins to make somewhat some sense now from what we're hearing in the Commission, of course, that you get him testifying and saying that there were monies taken in plastic bags, that were taken in boxes. In fact, there were several videos that were shown inside the Commission, and you could see 100 Rand notes just bundled together. So now, when he was asked what does he believe this money was being used for, according to him, he believes this is the money that we've been hearing about, which was allegedly used to bribe. So he spoke about taking at any given moment hundreds of thousands of Rand. But when he was asked about the entire amount during the duration that he was involved in taking this money directly to BOSASA's head offices, he did not want to give, or he could not give an answer pertaining to that. So, Stephen, you tend to see now previous testimony come together with the testimony that is being given now, and somewhat corroborates the testimony of some of the witnesses that have come before what we're seeing happening at the Commission now. So it gives a sense exactly of the extent of money laundering, some would say, of the extent of the monies that were allegedly used to bribe in this instance.
Griselda Lewis, thanks so much for coming in. Really do appreciate it. Our SABC reporter, of course, who's been on that story. Griselda, thank you.